And we have Mikko online with microphone on. Mikko, welcome.
Yes, good morning, everyone. Apologies for the technical issues. Luckily, you have very good technical support on site. So apologies one more time.
Let's go.
So I'm representing EIT Raw Materials. In my presentation today, I will first highlight some of the key challenges as to the raw materials we are facing now in Europe and especially in the future. And then I explain shortly how EIT Raw Materials aims to solve these challenges. So this is a bit busy slide. Apologize again, but this picture illustrates very well how our society today is more dependent on both the greater variety and the larger volumes of various materials and metals we mine today, dependent more than ever before. If you live in a middle income country, every year you use roughly 17 tons of various raw materials, and this is equivalent terms to the weight of 3 elephants. And for a person in a high income country, this is more than 22 tons a year. So there are various megatrends like urbanization, increasing standards of living, electrification, urban mobility, megatrends affecting all of us, which means that we will have more electric cars, electricity and public networks, transport networks, they expand. We buy more electronic products for homes and other use. All this means that more steel, more copper, more aluminum and others metals are needed. So if we then have a look on the supply side, this becomes more alerting. Europe today is highly dependent on the imports. Today imports is somewhere between 75% to up to 100% depending on the metal grades. There are 30 or so raw materials that the EU has classified as critical. So 19 are predominantly imported from China only. In some cases, for instance, magnesium, rare earth elements, etc., China has a monopoly, providing up to 89% of the supplies needed in Europe today. So you can imagine the country risk, the geopolitical risk related to this supply. And then if we have a closer look at the electrification, in other words, green energy production, electric cars, in the future, the supply-demand balance is also alerting. For example, lithium only, lithium is needed in lithium-ion batteries. The demand is expected to, by 2050, the demand is expected to be 9 times higher as the production of today. So to conclude here, we need more these materials even before, and mining is not going to anywhere. Whether we like it or not, mining is not going to anywhere anytime soon. So these are some of the challenges we are facing. So the mission for EIT Raw Materials, our mission is to find solutions to these societal and economical and environmental challenges. In other words, making raw material into major strength for Europe. We are also committed to support the European transition toward green economy, but also strengthening the industrial competitiveness and securing jobs, employment in the raw material sector, and also contributing to the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. What is quite often difficult for many colleagues and stakeholders to understand what is really the thematic focus. So our thematic themes, they range from exploration, where we are looking for primary and secondary material deposits, to mining and processing. All these are considered to be the main part of this conventional scope, conventional mining. But we also look for other solutions, how to utilize waste and other side streams, circular concepts, how to substitute some of the critical materials or toxic materials, how to design products that are much more easier to reuse or recycle. All of this making us less dependent on the primary materials and metals today. This thematic focus is not always correctly understood, as I mentioned. I meant this is a bit complex world. We do not only look for those new solutions for solving conventional problems or challenges in the sector, typically metallurgy or processing, whereas we also look for supplementing technologies. For instance, solutions for connectivity, 4Gs, 5Gs, who knows how many Gs there are, machine learning, sensor technologies, novel technologies making this sector more safe, productive, more environmental friendly, and thus more competitive. We also look for new advanced materials like composites, substituting or making us less dependent on conventional metals. And here I can give you a few examples from Latvia, and for Latvian startups in particular, which at first they may not sound fitting into our scope, but however, they have a very good fit. There is a company called Cataluco, which develops absorbent materials that helps companies to reduce the amount of zinc oxides which is needed in their production, for instance, for rubber or car tires. There is another company called Hymet, developing advanced thermal material for cooling high-powered complex consumer or industrial electronics by decreasing the weight, volume, and material cost. And the third example is Warden Machinery, again a Latvian startup developing artificial intelligence-based computer vision system for steelmaking industry in order to save energy and reduce the carbon footprint. So our scope is actually it's relatively broad. EIT Raw Materials and the innovation community is truly a partnership organization. We are focusing on the innovation for the sector by fostering the networking and collaboration with various stakeholders. Today, we connect more than 120 core partners, core and associate partners, and over 200 project partners from leading business, universities, and RTOs over the 20+ countries. So we are very proud to say that we are the largest innovation community in the world. Our activity or scope of service are somewhat similar to any other KICs. We foster the innovation through education and entrepreneurship. Matchmaking and networking, this may sound a bit of a cliche as we speak, but very seldom we innovate alone. So the objective for our matchmaking is really to put together those individuals, people, organizations, innovators, teams, industry, academia, to make a consortia to commercialize their innovation, and so on and so forth. We organize large-scale events like our flagship annual summit, Raw Materials Summit, taking place next May in Berlin. We organize also various small-scale events with more specific focus together with our partners. And also our alumni community, alumni network is very active, matchmaking students, graduates, younger innovators willing to progress in their entrepreneurial career. Innovation and acceleration, this is our, how would I say, our far and most important activity where we put most of our efforts. Upscaling projects are projects aiming to commercialize innovation to the market. Typically, they are 2 to 3 year long projects with a budget ranging from 1.5 up to 4 million euro. This is booster and the accelerator are meant for startups. Booster is a 3 times per year open call for funding for between 60,000 up to 200 kilo euros, helping startups to boost their business. And the raw material accelerator is a 3-phase tailored program to accelerate their ideas to the market. We help those teams to invent their novel business ideas and concepts, build up a strong offering, and scale it up. Not only Europe, but oftentimes also outside Europe. We've seen multiple successful teams participating in our accelerator program also from Latvia. So this is really one-stop shop, depending on the maturity of the idea or the startup, ranging from early stage to more mature stage. We have a lot to offer. Typically, those idea holders with having an idea only, they participate our joint Jumpstart program we organize together with the other gigs and continuing with more raw material oriented offerings. Here is a short summary of some of the key outcomes, what we have achieved in the past years. So we have supported more than 300 startups in our accelerator and booster programs. We have coached more than 170 teams in the Jumpstarter. These teams altogether have launched over 70 products to the market, products or services, and created or secured more than 400 jobs in Europe and raised in excess of 180 million euro investments. And lastly, the education programs, as you know, we are going to see a huge need for new technology solutions. So we also need to educate people, not only the master and PhD students, but also the industrial professionals. So we are running various educational programs tailored not only for the university students, but also for the for the industrial professionals. And I believe there is my colleague Lotta Aalto, who is also in the later panel discussion. You may contact her for further info for the educational topic. So this was my last slide. I thank you for your attention, and I'm open for any questions if we have time.
Thank you, Mikko. Thank you. So questions, please. I have one concern, I would say. And concern is, you mentioned also geopolitical challenges. For example, China controls some 80% of lithium market and production, and we have those green intentions, green energies, green mobility, and then on the other hand, we have these rare materials, and which is quite tough balance to make. Where are we heading, and do we have any alternatives for this problem?
Well, we are aiming to make Europe less dependent on the material imports, and we do this by driving the innovation, by driving the European innovation, and by delivering European solution. On the top of this kind of normal kick approach, we also launched another initiative last year, which is called ERMA, European Raw Material Alliance, which has two objectives. First of all, to have an influence in the European policy making, and the other objective is to facilitate an investment funnel, because there are lots of these mining-related, especially mining-related and material supply-related investment proposals, but we don't have a very good financing system yet. So we are setting up a ERMA investment facility to provide alternative funding for investment projects.
Mm-hmm. All right, thank you.